Hey guys, welcome back to Successful Investing. Are you curious about the strategy that all the most successful investors have used to make them billions? Well, it's a simple process, and in today's video I'm going to outline it for you. I'm Trevor, and this is Successful Investing. Alright guys, so this is the episode you've been waiting for. Today I'm going to break down the process that the most successful investors use. If you haven't seen the video I posted of Charlie Munger, I highly recommend watching that first. In it he breaks down the process and it's 4 steps. It is a sequential process, meaning that in order to get to the second step you need to pass the first step. And the first step is the ability to understand the business. So let's take a look at that in a little bit of detail. As successful investors, we are very patient. So it may take some time to find a business that you're capable of understanding. But it is far better to wait until you find one than to try to go after something you're not capable of understanding. And Warren Buffett freely admits this. He says whenever he's reading an annual report that he doesn't understand, he has a bin in his office labeled "too hard" where he'll put that annual report. So if Warren Buffett isn't capable of understanding all the businesses in the stock market, neither will we be able to. And I do this in my own investing. There are areas of technology and pharmaceuticals that I just don't get. So I don't even look at them. I don't even worry about technology. I don't even worry about pharmaceuticals. There are plenty of other great businesses that I'm able to understand and understand easily that I can invest in. So step 1 is making sure you can understand the business. And step 2 builds on step 1. In that being able to understand the business, we can also make an assessment of its competitive advantage. And we can do that qualitatively based on just the quality of the business, or quantitatively based on the numbers. And quality-wise, we're looking for a company that is dominating its market. And Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger call this a moat. When a company has a moat around it, it's very hard to penetrate their market share. So they may be doing this because they have a brand moat, something that just its competitors can't match, or it may have a pricing moat. And there are 5 or 6 different moats that will offer a different benefit to the company, and you want to see a business that has 1 or 2 or 3, even better, of these types of moats. And when you think you've identified one qualitatively, you want to see it quantitatively in the numbers. And we can do that by looking at the 3 financial statements: the income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. And there are different numbers in there that we want to see consistently growing. And this is really key. We want a business that's been around for at least 10 years. So we don't want a new business, we want an old business that has shown us what it can do. We don't like investing in initial public offerings or IPOs because they just don't give us a lot of data about the company. We want a business that's been around for 10 years and has proven itself and has consistently been growing, and we can see that in the numbers. So I'm going to break down all these processes, step 1, 2, 3, and 4, in much more detail in individual episodes. But for right now, just understand competitive advantage, and you can identify that qualitatively and quantitatively. And the third step is identifying management with integrity and talent. Analyzing management integrity is kind of tricky to do considering we can't go and meet with management directly. But there are press releases and quarterly conference calls that management will put on that we can get a glimpse of who they are. And I like to see management that isn't afraid to break the bad news in tough times. A company where management is saying everything is all right, and earnings is decreasing or just staying the same, and management saying everything's fine, that's kind of a red flag. You want to see management that's admitting to mistakes and admitting to tough times, and you want them to explain, how they're going to go forward from that. And then talent can be analyzed in a number of different ways. I like to look at debt. It's a very simple way. If management's piling on a lot of long-term debt and they're not really seeing a return on their invested capital, that's kind of a red flag. So we're going to dive deeper into this in a different episode, but know that step 3 is identifying management with integrity and talent. And the final step, step 4, is buying that company for less than it is worth. In the video, Charlie Munger says that no business is worth an infinite price. So no matter how great we think the moat is, no matter how great we think management is, we want to make a rational assessment of the value of the business. We're not going to pay an infinite price. And we can make a rational assessment in several different ways. There are 3 that I like. One's called payback time. I got that from Phil Town. Owner earnings and margin of safety. And all 3 of these take a look at the cash that the company is returning to itself and to its shareholders, and you want to pay less today than for what it's going to return to you in the future. It all makes very logical sense, but you would be surprised how many people are paying way more for a business than what it can actually return to them in 10, 15, 20 years. So when doing this, we can calculate this intrinsic value of the business, and we want to pay substantially less than intrinsic value because the less that we pay, the more reward potential we have and the less risk we're taking on. So we're going to break down those 3 steps in the future, but know that you want to buy a business for less than it's worth, less than it's going to be able to return to you in the future. So, as you can imagine, finding businesses that pass all 4 of these hurdles takes a little bit of time and a lot of patience. But the nice thing is that we don't need to find hundreds of companies. We don't even need to find 50. Warren Buffett says that if you could just find 20 companies over your entire lifetime that pass these 4 hurdles, you will become very, very wealthy. In most cases, you probably only need 5 or 10. So know that you don't need to be looking at a lot of businesses. And that kind of comes down to the concentration of your portfolio. If you know these businesses very well and you've got a great hang of them, you aren't going to need to have 100 businesses in your account. You only really need, 3 or 4 or 5. So in investing, it is far better to do nothing than to buy an okay business for an okay price. Be patient, take the time, do your research, and wait for opportunities. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video today. Thank you for watching. As always, I left a few resources in the description below. Follow the links if you want to learn more.